Go ahead, please.
Okay. So the first part is you need to take control. Okay. Number one is you want to be able to pay yourself first, adjust your priorities, change your thinking, adjust your lifestyle, earn additional income, avoid the credit trap, and set goals and have a plan. If you follow these, if you start to say, okay, what is it that I can take control of? What is it that I can control? You know, one of the great statements that I hear all the time is that people are saying to me all the time, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Has anybody ever heard that phrase? All the time. The truth is nobody lives paycheck to paycheck for the most part. We spend paycheck to paycheck. We spend from one to the other. And, you know, I sat down many times with families and I ask them, how much money is inside of your account? And they can think and they go, oh, I know exactly how much, because they're always trying to spend it. So things that you cannot control. You cannot control the future of Social Security. It may be there or it may not be there. But what can you control? Saving for retirement. You cannot control your employer, but you can create other sources of income. You can't control taxes, okay? You have a government that right now is trying to raise taxes, but we can show you how to reduce your taxes. You can't control inflation, but you can learn how to maximize your savings to beat inflation. Rising costs are things that go right along with inflation. So we teach you how to put together a very good plan. And the last part is the risk of a single investment, diversifying investment choices. We're going to talk about it as we go through this tonight. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the concepts and different concepts of how to help you win. So that is the use of and time and consistency. So money is all about time. Okay, so you know, the idea is the longer that you have your money working for you, the more it's going to grow. So we want to teach you how to bypass the middleman and understand how banks operate. So real simple, guys. Where do most people save their money? And go ahead and unmute and let me know. If you know, just where do most people save their money?
When they do some investments.
Most
special-
people, yeah, most people in the United States, they save their money in a bank. They put
Yeah.
their money and they just keep it in a bank, right?
Correct.
What does the bank do with your money? Does anybody know?
They invest our money
They invest your money and make money on your money. Isn't that
on my
crazy?
money. Yep.
And I never knew that. I was like, wait, what? That's when I first started joining the 10 years ago. I was like, wait a second. They're making money off of my money? That's not fair, right? So what we teach people is how to bypass the middleman. Now, do you think banks want you to know this?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. Predatory banks rake in billions of dollars in overdraft fees from their poorest customers every year. Okay. Last year, $15 billion in overdraft fees were collected from people who had, you know, too little money in there in the first place. So one important rule that we teach is called the rule of 72. It's sometimes called the banker's rule. Okay. So here's how it works. You divide your interest rate into 72 to find the approximate numbers of years it takes for your money to double. Okay. So let's do simple math. How many times does 1 go into 72?
72 times.
Congratulations, you just passed the math portion. All right, that's great. Very good job. Okay. So Vanna, if you put your money in the bank, right, and you're earning 1%, it's going to take 72 years for your money to double. Isn't that incredible? So let's talk about 3 brothers. Okay. 3 brothers, their grandma passed away and they gave them $10,000 each. Okay. The first brother, he's like, I'm not gonna put my money in the bank, but I'm gonna put it in a bond fund and I'm gonna get 3%, okay? Well, that 3%, 3 goes into 72 24 times. So after 24 years, it doubles. So it goes from 10,000 to 20,000. Then after 48 years, they have 40,000 in the bank. That's no good, okay? At 6%, it's gonna double when? Every 12 years. So after 48 years, they have $160,000. Now, can you really retire on 160,000? No. Okay. Now, Vanna, since this is going to be great for you, okay? So if 6 doubles to 12, do you see that? 6 doubles to 12. How much do you think this is going to grow down here? Take a wild guess.
In a year?
In 48 years, how much do you think it's going to grow to? If 6 doubles to 12, what number, how big of a number do you think this is going to be?
I can say 60.
600,000? 600,000?
No, not gonna be. I can say 300,000.
300, okay, let's make a deal, Vanna. You can keep the 300,000 and I get the rest. Is that a deal?
Yeah.
No, no.
Of course
Look
not.
at this. Isn't that incredible?
Mhm.
This is the power of compounding interest, your money compounding over time. Do you understand that? Okay. At 12%, your money will double every 6 years. Now, this works for you and it works against you when it comes to debt, when it comes to credit cards, when it comes to, car loans, bank loans, everything of that nature. So great question is, how do you win a game if you don't know the rules? You really can't, right? Do banks or insurance companies have any incentive to teach us this rule?
Mm-mm.
Who would
No.
benefit from learning this rule?
The
Everybody,
one
right?
will be us.
Yeah, so Kelly and Lais and Anna, if you guys want to come off mute and engage with me, it'll make this go a lot faster so everybody's listening in, okay? Shouldn't we have learned this rule in school?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Vena, se você quiser virar o seu celular, aí eu acho que você consegue ver melhor a tela.
Eu tô vendo bem.
So the next concept is paying yourself first. So the first one is really a concept of understanding how the bank, how investments work, how the value of money grows over time. Now we're going to talk about really, it's not about what you earn, it's about what you keep. See, many of us make a good income, but many of us spend too much money. Okay, so let me walk you through this. So let's say a customer, right? They made $50,000 a year and they've made that for 10 years. That means that they would have made over that 10 years over $500,000, correct? 50 times 10 is 500. Now, let's say they only have $2,000 in savings. Why? Because they spend their money every month and they spend everything that goes in. So they only have a 0.4% savings. Now, this is a great thing for you to do for yourself, for your family. Go through your family, do the math, find out what your percentage. Here's the goal. The goal should be 10 to 15% of everything that you make, you should have saved and you should have invested, or you should have created, those kind of opportunities for yourself. There's 3 accounts that you need to have, okay, to have a complete savings program. The first one is an emergency fund. Why? Well, if you have 3,000 sitting in an account, you can have it in a money market, you can have it sitting in a bank. And let's say your tire blows out on your car, okay? If you don't have an emergency fund, what do you think that you're going to use to be able to buy that tire?
Use the credit card.
Yep, you're gonna have to use a credit card. Exactly. You got it, Vanna. But if you have the $1,000 sitting there, the tire costs $200, you just pay cash and then you pay yourself rather than paying the bank or paying the credit card. Isn't that smart?
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't think that way though. Then there's a short-term savings, 3 to 9 months. Now this would have been invaluable to have during the pandemic to make sure that if, God forbid something happens, to your job, you have a way to keep going. And then long-term savings for investment. And this money that you put in there, you never want to touch it. Once you put it in, you forget about it. That is going to be for my retirement. That's going to take care of me when I'm not working. All right, so we teach people how to pay themselves first. Now, here's a great question, okay? How many families do you think waste $200 a month where they spend it on stuff that they don't really need? They just they go out to dinner, they get coffees, they get stuff that they probably don't need. How many families do you think waste $200 a month?
Every family.
Exactly. Would you put yourself in that category, Vanna? Sometimes, right?
Yes, I
So
am.
Vanna, this is awesome. Okay, so Vanna, what if, let's take a time machine back to when we were 25 years old, and let's say we heard this and we said, okay, I'm going to start investing $200 a month. I'm going to do whatever I got to do, but I got to save $200 a month from 25 to 65. This is how much money you would have at 65 just by saving $200 a month. Isn't that exciting?
Mhm.
Bad news is we can't go back in time. Okay. So let's say we waited a year. So we're 26, right? We didn't save the money, we spent the money. And so that's $2,400 we didn't save, we spent. That cost us $83,000. Why? Remember the rule of 72? Your money, that $2,400, that stopped working for you. Now, this is something that I want to encourage you to write down. You have to have your money working harder for you than you worked for it. See, when you invest, your money works even while you sleep. That's how you create freedom. Okay, so let's say we wait 5 years, 30 years old, only $12,000. Well, that's just a home. We just lost an entire, very nice $350,000 home. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Mhm.
Well, what if we wait till 40? So Anna and Vanna and Lais and Kelly, when do most people start planning for retirement?
Yeah, between 45 to 50,
Exactly.
because we returned 65, 70 years old here.
Right. Exactly, Vanna. Now look, here's the problem. At 40 years old, we've lost $717,000. I know you're like, thanks, Lais. This is depressing. Why did you invite me to this? So who are people hurting if they wait? Themselves, right? Themselves, their family. So here's some good news. Okay, we're going to show you how that even though that, you can't go back in time, what we can do is take control as we move forward. Okay, so these are the common credit mistakes. Number one, not valuing your credit. Number two, raising your credit card limits. Number three, not monitoring your credit history, not making sure that there's not things that were charged that shouldn't be charged. Number four, not monitoring your credit score. And number five, not knowing the interest rates and fees. Can I tell you guys something? For me, that I've done this 10 years, there has never been one client, not one, that knows exactly what their credit card fee, their percentages are on their credit card. Never once. Never once did they know exactly what their car credit, like what percentage they're paying on the interest. Maybe their home sometimes, but never their car, never their credit cards. Very incredible. Okay. So revolving debt versus fixed debt. Let's look at how revolving debt can erode your financial security. Okay. So revolving debt is credit cards. That is also if you go get like furniture, right, where they say you can have it for a year, you got to pay it, and then make sure you pay it. It's also like mattresses, anything that gives you like a year to pay it off. But if you don't pay it off in that year, they charge you all that interest that you didn't do it. So it's very important to understand how that works. So revolving debt, $17,000 at 18%, $595 a month. After 17 years, you finally pay it off with $12,000 of interest paid. Fixed debt, $17,000 at 18%, same amount at $595 paid. You will pay that off in 3 years, 2 months, with $5,370 of interest paid. Radically different, radically different. Now, what is fixed debt? That's home loan, student loan, car loan. That's a loan from the bank. That's a home loan. All those things are fixed debt. So here's the power of what we teach people. It's called debt stacking. Okay. So here's a client. They have Best Buy card. They have their Visa, car loan, MasterCard, mortgage. They're paying about $2,700 every month. That's going out in debt. Okay. Now, some people say $2,700. It seems like so much. I've sat down with clients that made $100,000, husband and wife both together make over 200,000. They were paying $9,000 a month going out. Okay. Now, this debt will be paid off in 23 years at age 58 with $214,000 in interest paid. Very depressing. But what if we had a plan to show you how to get out of debt much better, much faster? So the idea is called targeting. You want to target one. So let's say we're going to target the Best Buy card, and we're going to attack that until it's paid off. And then we're going to take the $220 that we were paying at Best Buy, and now we're going to drop it into Visa. So now we're going to still pay Visa, but now we're going to double that up. So now there's $573 going to Visa. Now, once that's paid off, we roll that into the car loan. We pay the car off, and then we pay off the MasterCard. We pay the MasterCard off, and then everything starts paying off the mortgage. Now look at this, guys. Here's the difference. Debt is paid off in 9 years at age 44, 14 years sooner, with $130,000 in interest avoided. Is that incredible? 9
Yes.
years versus 23. So here comes the really good news. You can say to me, well, Kent, so look at this. Now they're paid off. Their debt is completely done by age 44, 14 years sooner. We continue to invest that $2,700 every month at 9%, and at 67, they have over $2.4 million for retirement. That's exciting. So once we get a client out of debt, then we start to help them build their finances for the future. Do financial companies want you to know this? Do credit card companies, car loan companies, they don't want you to know this. And that's what we teach people. So the next thing is going to be a little bit intricate. We're going to talk about buying the right kind of life insurance. So understand, if you could think about your financial plan as a financial house, okay? The house has to have a roof on it. It has to have, doors. It has to have furniture, but it has to have, more importantly, if you buy any house, you can ask Lais, if she's going to sell a property, but there's a crack in the foundation, that's not going to be a good home to sell. Because why? Because it's going to be different problems into the future. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so buying the right kind of life insurance is the foundation. Why? Because everything else is going to take time to build. Your emergency fund, you got to take time to build that. Your investments for retirement, your college savings, everything that you need to build is going to take time. But what's very important is having that insurance in place, because if something tragic happens, now everything that was going to take time can get paid off right now. And then that creates your future for your family. It creates generational wealth. So here's our philosophy on the 3 nevers of buying life insurance. Number 1, never buy any kind of cash value whole life insurance, including universal life. Number 2, never buy life insurance as an investment. Number 3, never buy a life insurance policy that pays dividends. Dividends, when you hear that, you think, wow, when I invest money, then I get paid dividends. That's not what this is. Dividends are an overpayment of premium. So you paid the insurance company too much money, and so they give you some money back, and they call that a dividend. It's not a dividend. It's just that you paid too much. Okay, it should be called a rebate. So the importance of life insurance. How much is your car worth? So just think about, how much is your car worth and how much are you paying for car insurance? We insure, right? Why do we insure anything? It's to replace what might go away. Okay, how much is your house worth? We insure that because the cost of replacing it would be way too much. And then how much is your life worth? So life insurance can never replace the life, but you need to replace the income. Does that make sense to everybody? So here's a great way of looking at it. What if you had a toaster in your kitchen and on the 1st and 15th of every month, $2,000 popped out of it? Vanna, would you like that toaster? It'd be a great toaster, right? It'd have its own little room, right? That'd just be, don't go in that room. That's the toaster room, okay? Would you insure that toaster?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, everybody raise your right hand with me. Raise your right hand. This is a little fun, okay? Say, I am
I am
the magic toaster.
the magic toaster.
See, unfortunately, there's no such toaster, but we are the money machine for our families. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So if it makes sense to insure an imaginary toaster, wouldn't it make sense to insure your income? That's what that's what life insurance really should be called, is income insurance, okay? And see, here's the problem. The reason why we want to address this with families is because many families, they don't have the right kind of insurance and their insurance is not enough. So let me give you an example. I sat down with a family. They had $150,000 coverage. He made $50,000 a year. If he dies, there's only 3 years, less than 3 years, that family would be taken care of. What happens in year 4? Now she's all alone and there's no money. Now what does she do? So we teach people how to build a proper insurance plan to take care of, that's affordable. That's what's great. So here's this is real life. I try to make sure that people see this. This is a new one for you, Lais. You haven't seen this one yet. So husband and wife, both making $2,500. That pays for the mortgage, the cars, the insurance, the credit cards, the utilities, groceries, childcare, entertainment, and the dreaded, etc. What if he dies? How is that $2,500 ever going to stretch and pay for the $5,000? So the question you have to ask yourself is, what will she lose? I mean, dignity. You know, she's going to have to, change, her credit cards are going to get maxed out. She might not be able to pay utilities. What gets knocked out? The childcare? Well, she's going to need that even more. But what if they had a plan to replace that income? Now this family does not lose anything. Okay, they lost the husband. They can't change that. But what they do is they can still maintain their life. That's the way that they, that's what, and I always talk about that, is that's definitely what would drive, people to make sure you take care of this. So let me go over this real quick because this is important to our company. There's 2 kind of options when it comes to life insurance. There's cash value, whole life, universal variable, IUL. It's all different kinds. The more complicated, actually, the worse the insurance is. Okay, that's just kind of a good rule of thumb. If it's easy to explain, that's the best kind of insurance. Okay, our insurance is very simple. You pay, you die, we pay. That's it. Game over. Okay, so cash value works like this. The client is sold a policy and they're told you get the death benefit and an investment, a cash value, for one price. And that sounds great. I pay you money and everything's taken care of. 1 second. Okay. So you pay one money and you handle both of them. So in this case, $295 pays for $300,000 coverage and $124,000 at the age of 65. That's an estimate. That's not a promise, it's an estimate. Now, here's the problem with cash value. Okay, remember, you get 2 things for one price. So you're sold 2 things for one price. Here's the problem. Now, let me ask you this, okay? Let's say, Lais, you had the bank calls you up and says, hi, Lais, we have this new account where you can put in $300 a month and it's going to cover all of this. Does that sound exciting? So the first 3 to 5 years, guys, there's no money in the investment. Does that shock you? So one of the things that I show people on their policy is inside the policy, it shows that There's no money in the investment. Now, Vanna, how would you feel if you invested $300 a month and there's $0 sitting in your investment?
I'm sad.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, when I tell people, I'm like, don't hurt me, I'm just the messenger, okay? The second thing is after you've had your money in there for like a couple years, they say that you can, if you have an emergency, you can pull some of the money out. The problem is you can borrow it, but you have to pay it back. Now, whose money is that, Vanna?
The insurance company, but it's my
It's
money.
your money, yeah, it's your
Exactly.
money.
It's
Exactly.
my money, but the insurance company is the one plays with.
Exactly, Vanna, and you have to pay it back at 5 to 8%. If you don't pay it back, and you die, they're gonna take that money away from the cash value or your death benefit to your family. It's crazy, okay? Here's the last one, and this is the worst one. And when I saw this, I went, how is this legal? Number 3, when you die, you do not get the cash value. You get to choose between having the cash value or the death benefit, but you never get both. So they sold you 2 things, but you only get 1 thing. And people say, how is that legal? Here's why. Whoever has this policy, they signed their name to the policy. Why? Because they were sold something they didn't really understand. And when I get a chance to show people their policy, they're like, oh my gosh, how did I get this wrong policy? And it's because they were sold. Now, let me show you the difference. Here's what we do. For the same $295, we're going to give the client a lot more money. Okay, that's more value. It's for a 35-year term, $10,000 on the kids. There was nothing on the kids over here. Okay, now that's only $126. So what do we do with the rest of the money? We help them invest it. So at 9%, from time they buy it at 30 to 65, it will grow to 500,000. Now, simple question, just by looking at that, which one seems like a better plan? The right side or the left side?
The right side, the one has the investment.
Right, right. So watch this, Vanna. If I need to get money out of the investment, I don't have to pay it back because it's my money.
Mhm.
Isn't that great?
Mhm.
So what if John dies by the time he's 60 years old? Okay, so that's 30 years he's paid. Mary would then get $400,000 plus the 500. She'd have $900,000. Mary's 60 years old. Do you think she's okay with $900,000?
Mhm.
Pretty good. Well, let's say John doesn't die. He dies when he's 75. Okay. They let the life insurance go because they don't need it anymore because they have the money sitting in the investment. Their kids are grown, everything's. So now he dies when he's 75. Remember the rule of 72? That's 500,000 doubles every 6-7 years. So now after that time, that's over $1 million sitting in their investment account. Is Mary okay? Absolutely. So that's what we show people how to do. Okay. So the theory of decreasing responsibility. In the early years, you may need a lot of coverage. In the latter years, you may not. In the early years, you may not have a lot of money, but in the latter years, we better have money. Why? Because today you have young kids, high debt, house mortgage, so the loss of income would be devastating. At retirement, your kids are grown, lower debt, mortgage paid. So there's 2 things we have to make sure we're responsible for. What if we die too young, or what if we live too long? Why is living too long a problem? Because you
Health,
might run out of money. I'm sorry, go ahead, Vanna.
yeah, the health, you know.
Right,
and,
the health costs, everything like that, exactly. So what
Yeah.
insurance company do you know of that teaches people how to eliminate their need for life insurance? Isn't that cool? We show you how to build something so that you don't have to pay for that the rest of your life. All right. So anybody have any questions so far? My wife just reminded me I didn't ask anybody for questions, but I just wanted to ask real quick. Any questions?
Mm-mm.
No?
Not
Okay.
at present.
Huh?
No.
Okay, good. All right, so invest with professional management, okay? So a good way, there's the 3 Ds of investing, okay? So a good way to keep your focus is on your goals is to remember 3 Ds of investing. Now, guys, understand, this is taught to every financial advisor, but financial advisors don't teach this to their clients. Why? Because when you teach this to clients, then the clients don't need you. Okay, so it's important. What we do is different. We want to teach you and help you win. So the 3 Ds are dollar cost averaging, discipline, and diversification. So the first thing is discipline. No gain, no pain, no gain. So is discipline ever bad? Discipline is always good. Okay. Diversification. It's a simple strategy, but this is how it works. It's simply put put your strategy, not put all your eggs in one basket. The idea is this. You can put your money into an Apple, right? But if something happens to Apple and it starts to go down, you can't get rid of that stock unless you're going to lose a lot of money. If you put your money into the global economy through several companies, now you have a stronger thing because your eggs aren't in one basket. It's spread out. I'm going to show you that in a second. So a mutual fund is an opportunity for you together with many other people to pool your money together. How does it work? So you have individual investors who bring their assets together and then they put it into the global economy. What's different is if, like I said, you had Apple, you cannot sell Apple unless you have somebody that wants to buy Apple, okay? A mutual fund is many funds, and how it works is that it's basically a receipt that if you choose to leave the fund, you just sell everything they have to buy. Isn't that incredible? So they have to, so if you say, I'm out of it, I'm afraid of that, this is gonna go too far south, I wanna get out, they have to release your money to you. And that's very exciting, and it's really built for everyday investors to be successful. So here's the mutual fund, okay? This is a Franklin Growth Opportunities Fund, just to kind of give you an idea what it is. So I'm sure everybody's heard of Microsoft. Have you ever heard of Alphabet Inc? Anybody know what that is? Anybody heard of Alphabet Inc? No, that's Google. That's the sales, that's the advertising side of Google. Okay. Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Sea Limited, Alphabet Inc, another part of it, NVIDIA, and Uber Technologies. So this fund has 335 different companies. So when you put $1 in there, it's divided 335 times. So when somebody asks me, well, Kent, can you lose money in a mutual fund? You can lose money, but here's the idea. To lose money all your money in one of these funds, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Facebook would all have to go bankrupt tomorrow. What are the chances of that happening? Not very likely. And so the idea is that you have a fund that grows consistently. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. This is the power of putting your money together and diversifying your money, not having everything in Apple, but having everything into companies that are growing and paying dividends, real dividends. That means when Microsoft sells off and makes a valuation of their company, they pay their shareholders. So as Microsoft is successful, right? They just came out with Windows 11. As that happened, they paid money to their fund. So you got paid money by just owning their company. So make them work for you. Isn't that great? So the last thing this is called the dollar cost averaging. It's the cows. This is a fun way to understand dollar cost averaging. So the market goes up and the market goes down. That's just how the market goes. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. That's part of it. So how do you beat that? Okay. See, the idea is that you cannot time the market. Nobody can ever time them. You can be lucky sometimes, but you'll be not so lucky other times. But what you can do is time in the market. Having your money in the market helps you win. So let's say we're going to invest $100 every month. Okay, so the total amount that we're going to invest is $500. The first month we spend $100, and the cows are $100, so you can get one cow. The next month they're 50, so you can get 2 cows. The next month they're 25, so you can get 4 cows. Now the market, that's when the market was going down, but now the cow market's coming back up. So you get 50 for 2, and then they finally get back to 100, and now you're looking at you have a 1 cow. The total amount of cows that you purchased were 10 cows. So over the course of those 5 months, you start out, you bought 1, and you built up to where you now have 10. But the cows are worth $100. So if you decide to sell all your cows, 100 times 10 equals $1,000. So you invested 500, but you grew your investment to 10,000 in a down market. So here's the thing, whenever the market goes down, that's when you want to invest more. What do most people think when the market's going down? What should they do? Take their money out. Just like homes, Lais, when the housing market goes down, that's when you buy more homes, so that when the market goes back up, you can sell them for much more profit. So that's moo money. Kelly laughed at that one before. All right, so let me explain this, okay? So if you put $12,000 a year for 20 years and you just stuffed it underneath your bed, you'd have $240,000. Okay, now I wouldn't recommend that. Okay, so even if you put it in the bank, now let me stop real quick. Let me explain to you this thought. So 12,000 is what the government allows you to put as a couple into a retirement account, an individual retirement account, IRA. So if you have okay, so where was that? Okay, so 12,000. So they can put in 6,000 each for married couple. So Lais and Joan can put in 6,000 each for a year. Okay, that's 240,000 after 20 years in their bet. Now, if you stick it in a bank, the highest interest rate right now for a bank is 0.5. So look at that, 240,000. It would only grow by $13,000 if you invested in the bank over 20 years. $13,000. They're ripping you off. Okay. Now watch this. Now we're going to invest it into a mutual fund, but we're going to just give you a rate of 9%. That's very nominal. Okay. The fund that I just showed you is right now it's working at about 35%. Okay. Now, do you see that number there? $700,000 versus 253. Radically different. Okay. Now, at age of 20, that 20 years, now they're 50 years old. At 50 years old, the government lets you put in 7,000 a year, not 6,000. So if we do that for the next 17 years, your investment grows to $3.8 million. Here comes the exciting part. After you're at 67 years old, you take out $20,000 a month. Now you can, now Lais and Vanna, could you guys survive on $20,000 a month? No problem, yeah? But the exciting part, guys, is this, is that even after $20,000 a month for the next 20 years, you would have 3.3 million, and that would create a legacy, because you could give that to your family, you could pass that on to your kids, you could pass that on to ministry. So guys, you can do it. The path to financial independence starts with understanding a few basic concepts and implementing them. Winning the financial war is the result of winning tiny battles every day. And finally, if you put together a simple plan and follow it, you'll be amazed at the progress you can make. People don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So we have a solution. It's a financial needs analysis. It's a customized, confidential, and complementary. Complementary is a $5 word for free program that helps you achieve your goals and dreams. It's basically like a financial GPS to help you find the important answers to all the questions. We do this for free. We'll show you how to get out of debt. We'll show you how to plan for retirement and everything of that nature. Once you implement it, that's when we get paid. That's how our company makes money, and that's how we help your family. So I want to say thank you, obrigado, for coming and being a part of tonight's first time ever event for our team of reaching to the community and caring for people that are coming from other countries here. So do we have any other questions before we close out?
Mm-mm.
Did you learn anything new tonight, Vanna?
Yes, definitely. I did it.
Good. That's all we care about. Okay, that's what we care about. And that's what we love about what we do, is that we get to teach you how money works in the United States and how to take advantage. Because what I talked about, the investment, that's paid to you tax-free, no taxes. So you can imagine having $3 million to spend tax-free. How exciting would that be?
Mhm.
Great.
A lot exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, guys. Lais, do you have any questions? Anna, do you have any questions about tonight? Kelly, go ahead and translate that.
Ok. Ana, Laís, vocês têm alguma pergunta de tudo que a gente falou aqui?
Eu quero perguntar para vocês que estão participando hoje, né? Que é a primeira vez sobre o evento, se vocês já tinham ouvido falar, já tinham participado de alguma reunião, algum workshop, assim, nesse sentido, e o que vocês acharam?
Eu já participei antes, mas eu achei muito esclarecedor. Tiveram muitas coisas novas que tirei com proveito.
Como, por exemplo, o que foi de novo para você, Vana?
Ele falando, inclusive, do 3D. Dollar cost, disciplina e diversification.
Sim.
Então, ali para foi um wake-up call.
Perfeito.
Amen.
É bem fácil o jeito que ele explica sobre investimento quando ele traz a metáfora das vacas, né? Porque a tendência é que se o mercado cai, a gente desespera e quer pegar e tirar o dinheiro, né? Para não perder o dinheiro todo. E ali ele está mostrando que quando o mercado cai, aí é que a gente tem que comprar para a gente poder multiplicar o dinheiro, né? Então, eu acho bem interessante essa metáfora da vaca, me ajudou bastante a entender.
E para você, Ana, eu não consegui falar com ela. Você conseguiu falar com ela, Pedro?
Não. Ana, você tá aí? Você pode comentar? Isso é novo para a Ana, é a primeira vez que ela vê.
Perfeito. Então, eu quero agradecer a presença de vocês. Você quer colocar mais alguma coisa?
Eu quero agradecer.
Legal.
Eu quero agradecer aí. Depois que você chegar de viagem, eu vou entrar em contato aí com o pastor, viu? Pastor Kenny.
Excelente.
It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under.